wait. You're gonna go on a vacation to where? Oh, yeah. Hello, everyone. Beth from True North Media Company here. And we're going to get right into it. We are segueing into, I guess this will be a 3-part series that is connected to the February 7th Star Wars Podcast Day. If you had a chance to see that short video, I tried to highlight some of the things that I like about visiting film sites, and we'll call it niche news. And my focus is, when I travel, I do like to go to a lot of scenes and places that TV series and films have been made. And it's taken me probably about 2 weeks to download and gather some of the things that I want to highlight in this next podcast video series. You won't see any other guests actually chatting here with me today, but you will see some of the people that I did get to meet and hang out with in our last holiday to Tunisia. So I'm just sitting here reflecting. It's literally been exactly a year to the day or weekend that I was in Japan for the Star Wars celebration, and just looking over some of the photos and videos. It was such a great time, and we're definitely still in the planning phases for the next Star Wars celebration. So this is going to be a highlighted travel stories of Tunisia, things to plan for, things to consider, things that you might be surprised about. And then we're going to segue right into some of the tour stuff that we got to do with David Anderson and Galaxy Tours while we did our week's visit in Tunisia to a lot of the Lucasfilm sites. And then we'll segue into the last segment, which is planning for the 2027 Star Wars celebration, which is going to be in LA, and it is going to be the 50th anniversary. So there is a lot to process this year, but let's get into the good stuff. Ready for something new? Tunisia needs to be on your bucket list. A beautiful culture filled with ancient history, stunning landscapes, plenty to do outdoors, whether you want to be in the desert, near the palm trees, discovering ancient cities, beautiful people, delicious food.
But if we ever go up a little hill there, the left-hand side, they keep changing the colors of those bricks. Sometimes they're multicolored, now they're whitewashed. There's usually a falconer that hangs out there. There's some camels, and if you walk up there, they will want to charge you for really looking at the falcon, kind of classic scenario. But so we got a little extra stuff there, some camels. You can see we're rising way higher than we've been in the past. So, and this is really important because we're higher. This is why Matamata is able to have all these subterranean dwellings.
This tour was so well run, with adventure, fun, new people. Our tour guides were amazing, giving us all of the information that I never knew about Tunisia. Here you can see olive trees. Olive oil is one of the biggest commerce of Tunisia. Some of the places that we stayed had the most stunning, beautiful architecture and artistry. Every person that we came across was kind, met with humor, and even in some of the more unique places that you will stay when you visit Tunisia, you will be surprised at the comfortable hospitality as well as the variety of things that you get to do on a group tour with Galaxy Tours. I am so excited and I cannot wait to go back to visit Tunisia. See you in 2027. Now, let's talk about the reality of traveling in 2026 to 2027 and beyond. The travel industry had a little recovery from the beginning years of COVID, and I hate to say it, but with everything that's been going on this past year, travel, airfares, even like insurance, it's going to be up and down as far as what your money is going to get you and how far it's going to take you. So as a general rule, and I think this still applies even with the challenging things that the airlines are dealing with currently, but the general rule for booking airfare and to get a halfway decent price on your airfare is to book it anywhere between 8 to 9 months ahead of when you're going to travel. This both makes sense for international travel and it makes sense for domestic travel. So for me, I fly out of Chicago O'Hare. It's a very large hub for a couple different airlines, and I typically can get pretty good connection points or direct flights to overseas. This time I actually flew on Star Alliance, so that's United Airlines and Lufthansa. If you have a mileage program that your credit card is attached to, or you have an airline that you just have a preference to, you want to start to look at all the routes that they take and then the connecting flights that are going to get you to your final destination. I flew from O'Hare to Frankfurt to Tunis going there. And then on my return flight, I flew from Tunis through Munich back to O'Hare. And the majority of the flights were on Lufthansa. Actually pretty comfortable seating. Again, I'm 5'1". I can generally fit in whether it's an economy seat or an economy plus seat, just because my little short legs don't need a lot of room. Yeah, let's talk about some of the more important things about getting to another country. What I always tell people when it comes to traveling, we know that money, of course, is what helps you get there. And so you can obviously start to save with any kind of trip that you're going to take. Have a little travel fund, set money aside. One of the nicer things that I can honestly say about taking a group tour, this tour that I went on, we had 30 people on the tour. So a lot of times being on a big group tour does bring the cost down. So let's start talking about, where do you stay in Tunisia? A dar is a term in Arabic known as a house, and they tend to be more classical structures. Sometimes you find them more in the Medina. The few that we stayed in Tunis were just absolutely stunning, from the history of it to the location to obviously the architecture inside. We actually got to have a few local tours with Dali, and then we headed on down to Jerba, which is more of a island-ish area. I was lucky enough, I had a solo room, huge bed for me and myself and I, a little bit of a refrigerator, just to put my water and snacks in. But every accommodation that we had was clean, spacious, The people who work at the DARs are just phenomenal, kind, accommodating people. And what was nice about this tour is pretty much all of the places we stayed, we had the whole thing to ourselves for 30 people. It was really nice for us to be able to just kind of gather, have some dinners together, and just really get to know each other, even though we all came from all over the world. Let's really get into the ins and outs about staying in Tunisia, whether you're in the capital, whether you are in Jerba, whether you head down to the Tatooine area. One of the things that I can say is that it is different than America. Generally, I would be a bit more conservative. I mean, I have tattoos, but I decided to cover them up. That's just my own personal preference. Um, it was kind of comical. A lot of the folks on the tour with me, from time to time, they thought I was a local based on the clothes that I decided to wear. For women, you don't necessarily need to wear a headscarf. You can choose to, but it's not required. Surprisingly, you are going to find that a lot of the people either speak Arabic or French, but people do speak English. We did have Dalal and Iman on our tour. They were our local Tunisians, and so they also helped with communication and just ensuring that there was a good flow to everything communication wise. If I were to say there were any downsides about being in Tunisia, there is sometimes garbage everywhere. It's not any different than if you go to a big city like New York, LA, or Chicago. Sometimes you are going to see garbage on the streets. Take that for what it is. Obviously, you can contribute to removing garbage anywhere that you are going. You can see behind me here, this was one of the places that we got to go to on our stops on the Jerba coast, and we stayed for the sunset. So you can see the beautiful sunset there. We were there in March, and I don't know, it was actually kind of cool, like mid 60s, 70s. I actually thought it would be a bit warmer, but I did dress in layers. And I always suggest dressing in layers no matter where you go. Have some rain gear just in case it rains. We were very lucky. It did not rain the entire time that we were there, but you can always bring an umbrella or a raincoat with. The biggest thing that we'll say culturally is also a tad different is the restrooms and how the toilets are. So it's not common to use a lot of toilet paper like we do here in the US. And it was recommended by a bunch of podcasters to just carry Kleenex or toilet paper in your purse. And that absolutely came in handy for multiple areas that we visited. One of the gals on our tour, she also had like these little soap. It literally looked just like a thin piece of like a not like a band-aid, but like thin like that. And you could use that as soap too, because sometimes there was not soap in some of the washrooms. Obviously, food wise, really didn't have any challenges with food. In fact, the food was right up my alley. Lots of fish. We did actually have, and one of the places that we stayed to eat, we actually had the option for camel. I did not try it, but I heard it tastes like roast beef. Allergy wise, I guess if you have any vegetarian or gluten or nut sensitivity, you just look at the menu and see what options are available for you. A lot of the sweets and confectionaries in Tunisia, they do have a lot of nuts in it. So if you do have a nut allergy, you can just stay away from that. Coffee there is delicious. And yeah, other than that, some of the places that you go where there might be touristy stuff to do, the guides and tour leaders on a group just basically said, don't accept stuff from people because they are going to then want to charge you for whatever they're handing you as you get off the bus. It's okay to haggle for things. Dinar. So dinar is the local currency. And the one last thing that I will say about how do you get dinar, as soon as you get to the airport and you've collected your luggage, there's a couple different currencies. You can just take the money out there. I will say that each time that I took out money, it was maybe like a $5 transaction fee from my bank. Cash is king, definitely in Tunisia. So you are going to want to have dinar coins and paper dinar on you, but you cannot take dinar out of the country. So spend it when you are on your last day. Definitely tip your tour guides. We are going to get right into the next galactic reason of why we came to, I'm going to point this way, to Tunisia in the first place. May the force be with you. So let's get into the really fun stuff, right? This is where the fun begins. If you have been on the fence about taking a Galaxy Tours tour of Tunisia, don't wait, sign up. There's a few 50th anniversary trips that are coming up in 2026 and 2027. I actually loved this trip so much that I'm going to go back again in May of 2027. So you're going to see behind me a variety of scenery. I didn't want to put in every single place that we go to because, as David says, that's the secret sauce of the tour. But if you want to explore many film sites that are both Lucasfilm Star Wars and Indiana Jones Star Wars, you are going to get your fill of this on this tour. You're going to hear my cat in the background because I'm not stopping as I'm doing this. So don't mind him. The one thing about Tunisia is that there are going to be cats everywhere. So it's very fitting. Anyways, you can see in the background here, we got to visit the Lars homestead, both where Aunt Beru and Luke and Uncle Owen lived. Very unique, we'll call it glamping type of scenario. We actually got to watch the film there, which was really, really cool. But each day is a little bit different on the tour. Some days are a little bit more low key, where some of the other days you're going to have a lot of activity. Stunning architecture. You get to learn both about Tunisia and the landscape and the culture, and then some of the fun things that many Star Wars fans have brought to the areas that the film sites are. So what I can say is that, you are going to be active and you are going to be hiking some of the days. If you are not a big exercise person, you can just practice about 3 to 6 months before your trip on a Stairmaster. That's going to help you with some of the canyon hiking. I myself have never been on an ATV before the last trip in March, and I was a little bit not scared, but it's something new that you're doing, and absolutely loved it, even though I was one of the people who are always in last place. But you are going to be well taken care of by Sahara Quads. They are the company that David and Galaxy Tours have partnered with. And yeah, what I can say is that I've done a lot of tours before, I've done a lot of solo travel, and this was very well put together by the team of tour guides. You are going to visit many places that the tour guides are going to assist you with, both in getting in and out of places, but also, as I said, communication wise, the tour guides, they have to be registered in Tunisia to be able to offer tour groups. So you will have the opportunity to either room share with people. Sometimes you'll get a single room by yourself, but most of the time you're going to be making new friends and then rooming with them. All the accommodations were accommodating, comfortable, variety of food offered to us. And I do have to give a shout out to our bus driver who took us everywhere for 7 days. And it definitely can be a lot to take in, both with meeting new people, getting to know where everyone is from, in conjunction to visiting all these sites. But we had a great time, and I know many of us are planning to gather again at the Los Angeles Star Wars celebration in 2027. So if you are thinking about going to Star Wars Celebration, you are in luck, because that is where our next segment is going to take us to.
Everybody, I think, can attest that these days you sometimes feel like when you are getting a service, you're doing them a favor. And I think we all agree that this trip was probably one of the most meaningful trips ever. And felt like you could tell there was so much put into this financially and from the heart.
Segueing into this next bit on our Star Wars focused segment. If you have watched the full podcast, we just talked a little bit about the Galaxy Tours tour that I took in Tunisia and a little bit about Tunisia. But if you're just here for some information and pre-planning and travel tips for next year's Star Wars celebration, which is happening in Los Angeles, California, I'd like to offer you a welcome, and hopefully you find some of the tips that I am sharing helpful for you. So yeah, next year, April 1st through the 4th, 2027 is the official dates for the Star Wars celebration. And if you had a chance already, you've been on the official website, you're starting to finally see some more information being given to attendees who are interested in purchasing their tickets. The information, I think it was like a couple weeks ago, was finally released that on May 6th, that is the official day that tickets can be purchased. So set your clocks wherever your time zone is to help you get ready, to be prepared to be in queue, to make sure that all of your debit cards and credit cards are in working order, because when the clock strikes the open time, you get to wait in queue like everyone else. There's actually no pre-sales for VIP this year. And some people say it's disappointing. Some people are happy about that. But keep in mind, you have a lot of options for ticket purchasing. Yes, you can go for the $1,200 VIP tickets. Those are usually the first ones that are gone for people who really want all of the advantages and promos and we'll say guarantee seating in many of the panels. If you're not that big on, we'll say, content or panels, then just go for the simple 4-day, or even you can just do a 1 or 2-day. So there's really lots of, we'll say, cost options depending on how much you want to spend per individual. Or let's say you're bringing your kids and your family. There are some kid pricing options as well. But that, of course, is the first part of cost and budgeting that you want to have guaranteed before you decide to move on to the next segment. All right, so let's get into some of the real other important nitty-gritty stuff about planning. Besides setting aside money and figuring out what your budget actually is going to be, you want to look at, number one, how many days can you realistically take this holiday for, knowing that you've already bought your tickets. I personally am planning on going for a whole week. So I'm going to have a flight that takes me out on the 28th and then a flight that takes me home on the 5th. Airfare, where you know right now, is still kind of up in the air and all over the place. So if you don't like flying, or if you just don't want to be price gouged by airlines, if that is still happening at that time frame, you can drive, right? So if you are local and you live in the States, or you live within, I'm a Midwesterner, so anything 14 hours or less is doable for us. You can always drive, but then you have to factor in parking. And parking in downtown LA is expensive. You can take an Amtrak, you can take a train. You can also, if you are local, obviously, you can drive in or take the metro in. So the first option is transportation. How are you getting there? How are you getting back? Just look at what time frame you can travel to and from, and then how much you estimate or how much an airline is going to charge you. Don't be afraid to use miles if you have miles and can use them. I did that when I went to Japan. I was able to pool a bunch of my miles together, and I think it honestly only cost me like $300 for a round trip airfare to Japan and back. And that was just for the seat upgrade. So save your miles if that's something that you need to do for saving money. All right. So let's talk about hotels and the cost of realistically how the whole hotel industry and travel agents who might be assisting. I have been doing some research over the past week, and I do know that it is listed on the Star Wars Celebration site that Connections Housing is partnered with both Star Wars, Lucasfilm, and ReedPop to basically be the travel agent that has pre-allotted a whole bunch of hotel options for you. Now, I've tried emailing Connections Housing. I have tried calling them twice now, seeing if I can get some more information, because on the Star Wars website, as of April 24th, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, there's nothing on there. But Connections Housing has worked with a bunch of cons over the years, including Star Wars Celebration in Anaheim 2022. So if you yourself had went through that booking and that company, I'd love to hear your feedback about the experience from that. As a general rule, when you work with a travel agent and they prearrange group blocks of hotels, sometimes the pricing is, we'll say it's a set fee for however many days that they're going to offer you, however many room options. Not always, though, is it like this insane low cost deal. There might also be a variety of hotels, from your budget type of hotel to your boutique type of hotel to even your luxury stay type of hotel. From the little bit that I've been able to find on the internet, it seemed like they had anywhere between 4 to 6 type of hotel options for you to pick from. I'm not sure about how many rooms you were able to personally select. So if you needed one room and you were a solo traveler, that was probably easy. But if you were trying to book 10 rooms and you were like a set of family or like a fan group that were trying to all compile everything together, you may have been limited on that option. With that being said, it is partnered with the ticket purchasing. So after you do get your tickets on May 6th or May 7th, you are then going to be given a link from Connections Housing, and then you can go right in and buy and select the hotels that you want prior to everything being open then to the general public, which will happen on May 7th. Now, I have no idea what the price range is on the hotels. They wouldn't give me that information yet. And I'm not sure if you can do a lot of hotels will give you the option of reserve, but pay nothing now, cancel by a certain date. I know that's very, very popular in both the third party booking sites and even sometimes through like your hotel member sites. If you have a membership to a particular hotel chain or portfolio, you can see sometimes 4 to 3 different options for selecting cost and then when to pay, when to put a deposit, et cetera, et cetera. I personally, I have a hotel that is booked for, we'll say like a lower end range that is a little farther away through a third party site. And then I do have another hotel prearranged through my IHG member rate. So I have 2 options that are guaranteed. They both are a different budget cost for that week. And then we're going to compare and see what Connections Housing actually has to offer us. It's good to have options. If you know of a hotel and you like the location and you're set on the budget and you have the money already to nail it down and confirm it, go ahead and book it. You're set. That part is done and out of the way. If you are a little bit more fluid or you're not sure, your plans might change, you might end up having a roommate who's willing to stay with you, then that also can allow you to really gauge where your budget needs to be for the hotel. It is, I think I calculated, it is about 340 days till Star Wars Celebration starts. And yeah, figure out, how much you need to save a week for the hotel. One of the other things that has kind of been, I'm seeing it a lot on some of the fan groups, is hotels now are starting to have this very open, fluid, airy type of hotel room. And so there was a couple different discussions in one of the group of make sure that you're really comfortable with your roommates because you might be seeing them while they are on the loo. I know that they're being, they're joking about that, but if that is a concern, but you still want a room with someone, there are options that you can do for privacy. You can get like double-sided tape and you can just get like a simple plastic shower curtain to like drape over that area. You can also contact a hotel manager directly and ask them if they can be a bit more accommodating about that. That is one of the things that helps when you do book direct with a hotel. There are the general reservation line that you can call, and then you can call and speak directly to the hotel manager. And so sometimes when you want something to be really firmly answered or to, we'll say, build a rapport with the entity that you're going to stay with for a week or 4 days time, just open up that line of communication. Communication is always the positive thing when it comes to all of this. And let's talk a little bit about what do you actually want to do besides going to the Star Wars celebration? If you are more into the pre and post party connections, there's a lot of things happening both the few days prior to when Star Wars celebration starts. I do know that the VCN network, they've got a bunch of different ticketed and non-ticketed events. So the big talk I know for a lot of people is actually going to Disneyland right before Star Wars celebration, but keep in mind that is also Easter weekend. And what that means is that more people who have off tend to have more holiday plans. And so it might be really, really busy on that 28th or 29th. But when isn't Disney busy, right? So I know that there is the Scum and Villainy VCN event that's going to be happening. If you haven't had a chance to check out the Scum and Villainy in California, they are actually opening a new rendezvous location, and you can go to their website and on their socials and check out all of the updated information. I myself, I thought it was really cool, so I decided to become a founding fleet member on that, and so I'm really looking forward to the VCN Scum and Villainy rendezvous event that week as well. You got Mosh Isley. I honestly, I don't know anything about this, but the few people that I met on the Galaxy Tours tour in Tunisia, they talked about how it's a great after party for some of the events. So that's another ticketed event. Again, you can go on their socials. They'll keep you updated to when tickets go on sale. And so depending on how many pre-post events are happening that week or even like the night after Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that's part of your budget. If you are just wanting to keep it low key, obviously you don't have to go to any of those events. Maybe you choose to go to one of those events. I know that there is a lot of the 501st type of events where you're trading swag. And so that is another factor of cost. You know, are you going to make swag? That was a really cool thing that I did for Japan, and I got a lot of really cool swag. In fact, I still have my little swag bag here. So I love the Jawa stuff that I got. One of my cosplays last year was a Jawa. And yeah, the other thing, of course, is if you are a cosplayer, I hope you already have started planning, fixing, designing whatever your cosplay is going to be, because with the 50th anniversary and with it being in LA, we know we're going to see some phenomenal cosplay. If cosplay is something that you are going to try for the first time, couple things to always factor in. You're going to be in California in April. It's still going to be hot. You're going to be in a convention center with thousands of people. It's going to be hot. So either know how long you want to wear that cosplay for. You can also, I've seen people who have like fans and insulation in there to keep them cool. For me, when I did the Jawa, I was only in it for 2 hours because it was hot in Tokyo and it was hot in the convention. Um, the other thing to factor in is how easily can you go to the restroom in your cosplay? Some are very easy. You just drop drawer and then easy peasy. Some are a little bit more complicated. So that is always a big factor for you to consider if you are wanting to do cosplay. Then there is also the meetup photo opportunities that happen. And what I can say is the cosplay portion of it and the meetup portion of it is nice, whether you are going as a big group or whether you are going as a solo person. I go to a lot of cons by myself, but you're in the same niche and you are going to start to see the same people, the same friends. And that is really, I think, one of the nicer things about the Star Wars community is that if you have a love for Star Wars, whether you're OG, whether you are new, whether this is going to be your first con, you really, really are coming into a welcoming community. And I think that's really important no matter how you approach this next Star Wars celebration. Come into it with an open mind, come into it with a little bit of patience. I think someone had recommended today in one of the groups, they talked about make a list of what your top 3 definitely must be must sees are, and then have a plan B, and then have a plan C. No matter what, you're going to have a really great time. And I am looking forward to being with amongst all of my Star Wars friends again in 340 days. So if you have any other comments, questions, you can always message me on my socials. If you are watching this video on YouTube, please give it a like, share it for those that you feel it might be helpful for. And as always, may the Force be with you.
Where we will all gather to also celebrate the first 50 years of the franchise. And we'll be doing it in Los Angeles, California.